What's up? It's Mike, and welcome back to the Yearlies, the year show that happens once a year, and I welcome you to the February special. We have a very unique and exciting February for you all, but before we get into that, let's check out all the highlights from previous Februaries. And now, for the grand reveal, the moment you've all been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, one and all, I welcome you to February of 2023. What the f*** is that? Have you ever wanted sex more than playing Donkey Kong? No? It's absolutely no secret that I grew up as a Nintendo kid. Starting off with the Wii, then moving on to the 3DS, Wii U, and the Switch gave me a very distinctive taste for the kinds of video games that I like to play. After a while, though, I started to get the feeling that I was missing out on something, and that something definitely wasn't life. I wanted to see what the gaming experience was like outside of the Nintendo sphere, a dark and dangerous world full of functioning online multiplayer and traditional controller setups. Eventually, I got the courage necessary to do the unthinkable. Buy a system that couldn't play Mario Kart. This was the PS4, and I only bought it so I could play Spider-Man. If you were wondering, yes, I didn't eat that week, but was it worth it? Easily, the majority of my PS4 gameplay was dedicated to the webhead, as the game was unlike anything I had ever seen before up to that point. It was so cinematic. I felt like I was playing through a feature film. It looked gorgeous. The story was fantastic. Swinging around never got old. It was a showcase title for what the world outside of Nintendo could offer me. It's what motivated me into trying out God of War, which eventually became one of my favorite games of all time. You knew that was coming. At the end of the day, the PS4 just really wasn't that convenient to play on. The system as a whole ran kinda slowly, downloads for updates took forever, and as more time went on, it became obvious that the majority of the games weren't being designed with that hardware in mind. Compared to my Switch, which booted up almost instantly, played games only slightly worse, and the fact that I could take it anywhere, it slowly made my PS4 nothing more than a Blu-ray machine. You may be wondering, did I learn my lesson? You think I did? This is the Xbox Series S, and while I could tell you I got it because I really wanted to experience each major brand of console once so I can make better points of comparison between the three and have a greater outlook on gaming as a whole, that's so I can make more informed opinions about it, I really got it because it was the only one available on Amazon. For a while there, I really didn't care about the next generation of consoles at all. The graphical improvements seemed minor at best. The other features on offer for both the PS5 and the new Xboxes didn't seem like they would change much, and the amount of games I was interested for them specifically was somewhere between 0 and nothing. It didn't help that they were ridiculously hard to get, and even at normal prices, they cost a pretty penny. So then why do I have this? Boredom. For one, the price was definitely right. I got it around the holidays. In addition, that only cost $240, which is practically robbery. Oh wait, it is. There's a reason the price is much smaller compared to its competitors. It's because it's literally smaller. I'm seriously impressed they managed to pack this much power in this size of a package. It easily fits in a ton of setups and runs quiet as hell to boot. But you might be asking, how did they manage to fit all of that next-gen juice in there? Castoration. The Series S is a completely digital system, no disk drive at all. And while that's certainly not ideal, I'm not as pissed as you might think. See, I'm a big fan of buying physical games when it makes sense. This is what making sense looks like. When it comes to the next-gen consoles, and even some of the last-gen consoles like the PS4, physical games just started to make less and less sense for me to buy, as it basically just works as permission to play the game after all the actual important data is copied to the console itself. The only reason I have any physical PS4 games is because they were cheaper physically than they were digitally. That problem has a pretty elegant solution on the Series S, but there's another problem. Numbers. 380 gigabytes is not a lot. If you play any big online multiplayer game, then you might get about 2 games on there. But honestly, if you play literally any other types of games, you should be fine. The small storage size is actually a bit of a boon to me, as it actually forces me to focus on beating a set of games before moving on to others. If you don't have that kind of self-control, then don't worry, you can upgrade the storage for the small price of almost the entire value of the system. Oh yeah, I love a good PS Vita reference. In my eyes, the limited base storage size is offset by a much greater benefit, but before we get into that, let's talk about how we get to the games.
The destination is on your left.
I can't find them. First is this controller. Oh my god. I mean, he must have made this. Who else could? Before this, my #1 controller of all time easily went to the Switch Pro controller, but after using the Series S controller, it's legitimately hard to go back. Everything about it is top of the line. The buttons, the sticks, the triggers, but what really elevates it is the small stuff. The really small stuff. The textured grips were eye-opening and feel amazing. The Switch Pro controller just feels slippery by comparison. I had absolutely absolutely no complaints about the controller, and then double A's? Really? The controller battery life isn't that bad, but come on, it's 2020 and you still haven't figured out how rechargeable batteries work? Oh wait, they have. They just want to be a bitch about it. Other than that extremely major inconvenience, this controller is sublime. It almost makes up for the UI. This really is not great, but after hearing some people compare Xbox UIs to Satan, it's not that bad. It's worse. There's just so much wasted space. There are so many submenus upon submenus. There's blatant ads on the home screen of the console that I paid money for. It all makes me want to go back to the Switch UI and its complete lack of anything. For its credit, buried under all of those submenus is a lot of functionality and customization options, such as live streaming, connecting to Discord voice channels, and even a blue light filter, something that should be on every system. On every system. But all of those features aren't the thing that saves this menu. The only thing that does is the speed. As alluded to earlier, the trade-off for the small storage size is an exponential speed increase thanks to the power of SSDs, a revolutionary new technology that definitely hasn't been around for over 30 years. Jokes aside, the introduction of SSDs have completely changed the way that I view console gaming. I think it's easily the biggest game changer since the ability to show lights. Gone are the days I have to wait for my PS4 to turn on, laggily go through the home menu UI, open the game, take a minute or so to load and get into the game. Now I can do all that in less than 30 seconds. Accounting for how much nicer this makes playing games, how much more responsive the console feels, and how much faster installing games is, the SSD finally made console gaming feel as convenient as my Switch. However, none of this would matter without games to play, and Xbox has easily one of the best systems for getting games of all time, in the form of Xbox Game Pass. With a monthly subscription that honestly could be way worse, you get access to an insane library of titles, with some of them joining the service day and date with its actual release. It's an insane value proposition and works perfectly with the Series S and its digital-only disease. And that's just base Game Pass. You can also get Game Pass Ultimate, which gives you access to even more games. Yay. Granted, Game Pass isn't a perfect service, as games could be yoinked off at any time, but there are so many on offer that I think it's a tolerable issue. It should be the only subscription most people pay for too, as in my eyes, Xbox Live Gold is completely worthless. All of the free-to-play online titles like Destiny 2, Overwatch 2, Fortnite work perfectly without it, and games for Gold have been interesting recently. Back to the games in terms of how they run natively. It's honestly perfect for my situation. I admittedly don't have all the hardware needed to take full advantage of all the new things the Series S can do, but in almost every game I tried, I managed 1080p 60 FPS no problem, something I could have never managed with the games I played on any other system that I've ever used, even including my PC. Being able to quickly switch between games thanks to a feature called Quick Resume is also borderline witchcraft. I don't know what demons it took to make it work, but I'll let it slide. Just this once. Now let's get into some specific games, and Xbox is well known for only having 3 of them, so surely this won't take too long and Microsoft won't randomly drop one of the most purely fun video games I've ever played in my entire life that I would easily consider to be my top 10 video games of all time with absolutely no build-up in the middle of me trying to say this. Hi-Fi Rush is fucking incredible. The fact that it even exists at all is crazy. It seems like the antithesis of modern gaming, with absolutely no marketing built up to its release, and it being a short but extremely well-constructed and gorgeous single-player game that easily earns its only $30 price tag. It's really hard to be disappointed with Hi-Fi Rush, because literally no one even knew it existed until the day it released, and if mine and other playthroughs I've seen are to go by, there are very few people even a little disappointed by this game. First, the obvious thing. The art style. Hi-Fi Rush takes a good amount of inspiration from places for its art style, but I wouldn't consider that a dock against it. Hi-Fi Rush takes that inspiration and melts it into something completely its own, doing some of the coolest things visually I've ever seen in a video game.
How about...
There are probably other games out there with a similar visual style, but I doubt they pull it off nearly as well as Hi-Fi Rush. There are so many moments that I wanted to just stop and take it all in. This game really takes the every frame a comic panel thing seriously, and I couldn't get enough of it. The developers never rest on their laurels though, always pushing the limits of what they could do with the art they use, and some of the things they do are just so neat and creative.
Admit it, Peppermint. You wish you were doing this!
Actually, no. Also, looks like you've been spotted.
That's as far as you go! Oh.
Tuck and roll, Chai.
What?
Something that's incredible to play through is the combat, which also takes heavy inspiration from places. That really doesn't matter though, because man is it so satisfying. All of the combos you perform feel great to pull off, and visually you don't get bored throughout the entire playthrough. The level design, while nowhere near as creative as the art, gets the job done, and the decent chunk of platforming on offer is harmless. There's one thing that ties all of it together and serves as the lifeblood and the heartbeat of Hi-Fi Rush, both figuratively and literally, and it's the music. Literally everything in this game is synced to the beat of the music, from what the protagonist Chai does, like walking and snapping and jumping, to almost everything in the environment itself. No matter where you look on the screen, you can find the beat. Finding the beat is essential when combat time rolls around too, and it's what changes the fights from great to amazing. When you're in sync with the music, the hits just hit so much harder. My English PhD is around here somewhere. The cutscenes and platforming are also completely synced to the beat as well, and I'm kind of doing it a disservice just explaining it with words. Actually playing it is a genuinely fantastic experience, and Hi-Fi Rush is easily the best Xbox game I've played. Not for any of what I just talked about though, the real reason you should play it is the robot cat. And even with all that said, that's not the only game on the Series S. There are at least 2 more. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, easily the best beat-em-up game out of the 0 that I've ever played. It might be fun with friends, I'd have to guess. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, if you like getting your ass kicked while listening to beautiful music, and who doesn't, then this is the game for you. Ori and the Blind Forest, looks beautiful, uses the Windows 7 font for its exposition. Guardians of the Galaxy, it's Spider-Man with licensed music and guns. Tetris Effect Connected, it's what Tetris looks like to all the heroin fans out there. Vampire Survivors, this is just heroin. Sonic Generations, not even an Xbox Series S game, but it runs at 60 FPS, so it's officially better than heroin. Halo Infinite, it's got a grappling hook, I don't know. Forza Horizon 5. Wait, why is this actually fun? Wait, what? And that was every game available on Series S. Don't look that up. All in all, the Series S was a great first impression when it came to Xbox systems. The console itself is small, quiet, and powerful. The controller is unmatched in really good and really confusing ways. And with the convenience of Game Pass and its nuts library, I think the Xbox Series S is the perfect point of entry into the next generation of consoles for anyone who still needs their organs. The next generation of games are starting to look just as exciting as the consoles themselves. I can't wait to play Spider-Man 2 on this thing.